Hi everyone, welcome back to Disc Golf Valley Tips and Tricks. And today we're going to take a look at the Big Skip Extra Glide distance drivers. Which one should you use? Which one are the pros using? And what is the big difference between them? So we're going to do kind of the battle of the big skips. Let's start off by taking a look at this wonderful website called Global Disc Golf Club. I'll put the link in the description below here. It's a really great place to keep in mind to discover what the pros are putting in their bag. And they break it down with the statistics. Somehow they're able to grab the statistics of what others are using, especially those that are getting the best scores. They've got a really nice summary here. And as I mentioned, today we're going to focus in on the Extra Glide Big Skip distance drivers. And as we take a look at this, we see that the Rive Big Skip Extra Glide is taking the majority of the pros' bags. 91% of pros are using the Rive as their Big Skip distance driver. But there are some contenders that are coming up. We see the Cloudbreaker DD3 is gaining some ground, 16%. And the Zeus is coming along, 6%, and the Captain at 4%. And so today in our video, we're going to do a comparison of at least the top three here. I don't have a Captain, but that's only running at 4% anyway. So if that increases and I do get a Captain, we may revisit this. But for today, we're going to do a kind of a comparison of the Rive, the Cloudbreaker, the Zeus, and I'm going to throw in one more there, the former Grail, as they called it, the Ballista Pro Big Skip Extra Glide. We're going to take a look at that as well. So first of all, let's take a look at the Rive disc, the Big Skip Extra Glide Rive. And a great way to test out a drive, any drive that you might be thinking of, is on the test drive field. I usually bring my pointer down just so it hits that first line and usually put an anhyzer on it to give the best test to a disc. And one thing I like to note is where does it land? Where does it hit the first bounce? And it's that line that you see there is 125 meters. And so we're looking at somewhere around 133, 134 meters that it goes before it hits the first bounce. And then how far does it slide? We see this one went to 182. Let's try it again. Again, we're getting a nice distance before it bounces. And then it slides way past the last line there for 185 meters. I think this is why the pros like to bag this disc. But let's take a look at the former Grail, the Big Skip Extra Glide Ballista Pro disc. For several years, this was the only Big Skip Extra Glide distance driver that you could go with. And the reason I'm including it in this comparison is because I know that there's a lot of people out there that just don't really like to pay for a disc, and so they're just accumulating discs naturally. We see that it doesn't quite make the 125 meters there before it makes the first land. But notice how far it slides up, almost to the 175 line. It goes 171 meters. So I believe it's still a very respectable disc. You know, for those people that don't want to purchase the new distance drivers and you're just going accumulating naturally, I think that you can still be competitive using that Ballista Pro. All right, here's a brand new disc. I would say only out 2 or 3 months, the Cloudbreaker. At least this version of the Cloudbreaker. Let's see what it does on the field. Where does it bounce? Well, not quite even to the 125, but it does slide a long ways. What have we got? 179 meters. That's quite the distance. Try it again. And about the same results. A little bit further this time, I would say 182 meters. So that is an up-and-coming disc. a good possibility to keep in mind. That's the DD3 cloud breaker. There's another cloud breaker, Extra Glide Big Skip, but this is the latest version of that. All right, next up is the Zeus, and this is a disc that I have been using a lot the last 6 weeks or so as I recorded a series where we purchased this disc, called it the Jumpstart series, where we purchased a Big Skip Extra Glide distance driver to help us along the way. And so I've come to kind of like this disc. We were able to get through all of the courses, 3-star all courses, just using this distance driver. And so even though the pros are not yet really bagging it, I find that it does go the distance. It maybe does have a few quirks and flies a little funny sometimes, and that could be the reason why it's not being adopted. But for the most part, I think it can do the trick. All right, let's move on to real courses, because the test drive field doesn't always give you the real-life results. So here we are out on Oak Hill, hole number 1, and with our Rivi Disc, we're making it pretty much all the way to the basket. Now, the way that we're doing these tests, we're not going to throw the disc into the basket because we want to keep the same wind condition as we go through all of the discs in our comparison here. We want to make sure that it is kind of a fair comparison, so we're keeping the same wind condition by not putting in. Once you put in and replay the hole, it's going to come up with a different wind condition. So this ballista does fall a little bit short of what the Rivi can do, but it still gets you up there so that it's fairly easy to get it in. I remember when all I had was the ballista Big Skip, I still managed to eagle this hole fairly consistently. And here's the cloud breaker. How does it do? Well, it gets us right up there. Easy throw in from there. Let's try it again. I'm just showing you the best 2 of my test runs here. And can we see that basket? Yes. So that would have been also another eagle. All right, here's the Zeus. How does it compare? Well, it comes around, maybe even just a little bit closer than the cloud breaker. Of course, every throw is just a little bit different. But these are pretty competitive with each other. All 3 of these new Big Skips are doing very nicely on this hole, making it for an easy eagle. Now here's an old standard to give a good test to Big Skip discs. You see the Rivi does, it's probably more than what you need actually, but still an easy comeback for the basket. One more time. A little muff there, but still brings us down for an easy eagle. Let's see how the ballista does. How does it stack up against the new discs? Well, you know, that's almost where the Rivi landed. So I think, you know, you're still okay on most holes with the ballista, if that's all you've got. You know, I hear guys complaining on the Facebook page that only those who buy discs can really be competitive. And well, here you get the Ballista Pro Big Skip after you are, what, level 20? You can start accumulating that. So I think that if that's all you've got, you can still be quite competitive. All right, here's the Cloud Breaker. Well, that comes in nice. Well, I'd say that's the winner on this hole, the Cloudbreaker. What else? Oh, yeah, here comes the Zeus. I know from experience that the Zeus does well on this hole as well. Well, that's even a little bit closer. Can't complain about that at all. Try again. Okay. All right. Well, I think I'll change my statement there and say the Zeus is the winner on this hole. Zeus takes the cake. All right, here, hole number 8, I think it is, of Oak Hill is another good opportunity to test out our skip discs. Well, that's not quite what we're looking for, is it? So you have to be careful with some of these really long sliding discs. You can end up out of bounds. Let's try this again. This should do better. Yeah, I think that is an easy eagle from there. Try it one more time here, so we get 2 good ones on the scorecard. Yeah. So the Rive is a winner on this one. All right, moving on to the Ballista. How does it do? How does it stack up against the new Grails? Boom. Well, look at this. How you can't complain about that. The Ballista Big Skip Extra Glide Pro still goes the distance on a lot of these holes. In fact, it's maybe a better disc than the Rive on this hole. It's not as much of a danger of going out of bounds. And so I have no sympathy for people who complain about not being able to be competitive because they don't want to buy the new discs. Wow, now look at that. The Cloudbreaker. Okay, I think I'll have to say the Cloudbreaker takes this hole. Yeah, I like that. And the Zeus, let's see how it does. This should be okay. Can't complain about that. Try again on the other side of that tree. And it's looking good. Boom, up the hill. So there you go. The hole number 8 of Oak Hill. Let's try this Kho Park. This is one of those holes where you might not want to use a Big Skip Extra Glide because it's kind of a narrow fairway and you can run the risk of going out of bounds. But if you're on the first hole of the daily, why not run it? And you do gain extra points if you get the eagle on this one. And this Rive disc brings us up within throwing range. Let's see how the others do. The Ballista, will it get us up there? Well, it's looking pretty good. Nice skip. That's the thing about the Ballista Pro. It had a nice big skip. I think that's almost where the Rive was. There's nothing wrong with that. I grow a little weary of these people that complain that they can't be competitive because they don't have the Rive. You can do just fine with the Big Skip Ballista Pro. Let's see how the Cloudbreaker does. Well, is that turning enough? I don't think that's turning enough. Oh yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. This can often happen on this hole with a narrow fairway and a big skip. That's the downside of using big skip discs, is that they can often bounce out of bounds and put you way behind the crowd that may be using just light extra glide discs, because they don't bounce so much. I think in our next video we'll do a comparison of the latest extra glide light discs and show you how they can do. Now that's close enough for a throw-in there, that Zeus. So the Zeus is a winner on this as well. I don't think it has a tendency to skip out as much as the Cloudbreaker does. All right, let's just take a look at one more hole here. This is hole number 3 on Kagaya Eno. And with the big skip distance driver, you can get right over to the island here. I think it's an island to get an eagle. This Rivi, though, I think is just a little bit too much disc for this. Like, easily goes over and into the ocean. But I was a little surprised how the ballista seems to be perfect for this. Even it went up, but as I tested it out, it seemed to do a better job actually than the Rivi. It was just suited more for this hole. Let's see how the Cloudbreaker does. I think I struggled more with this one than the rest. Didn't do the best on this hole. Now that could be because I've just finished doing this course using the Zeus disc, and I got used to using the Zeus for this hole, and the Cloudbreaker just flies a little different, and so that could be my problem. It could be that if I just spent a little bit more time with this Cloudbreaker, that I would figure out the aim and the approach, and it would be just fine. I think it might be just a little bit too much disc as well, though. But the Zeus does well here. It's a little bit heavier, I think, than the Rivi. Boom. Well, there you go. A comparison of 4 of the Big Skip Extra Glide discs. After doing this battle of the big skips, you're probably wondering which disc I'm going to end up putting in my bag for my distance driver, Big Skip Extra Glide. Because really, you only should have one. You really need to decide which one is best for you and just have the one. There's no reason in the world to take up 2 precious slots in your bag and have 2 of these distance drivers, the 2 big skip drivers. So you need to pick one, and it's a little bit of a toss-up. I really did come to appreciate the Zeus when I used it to do the 3 stars on all of the courses in a recent series that we did here. And I've come to learn how I can get the eagle on a lot of holes using the Zeus disc. However, now that I'm finished that course and I'm starting to use the Rivi Big Skip Extra Glide again, I think I will have to say, if I have to choose between the 2, and I do need to choose, I will go back to the Rivi Big Skip Extra Glide. I think that the Rivi is just a little bit more consistent in the way that it flies. Yeah, sometimes it goes just a little too far. Sometimes it skips out of bounds, which I really don't like. The Zeus is a little heavier and it kind of stays in bounds better. I found with the Zeus that it is not as consistent. Sometimes it just goes crazy and goes off in a different direction than what you would logically think it should. based on the aim that you've taken. And after that happens 30 or 40 times, you get a little bit frustrated with the Zeus. And the Rive is always consistent and follows the same flight path every time, whereas the Zeus can just go crazy like it's possessed on you and just go off in a completely different direction than the last time you threw it with the same aim. So that would be the main reason I think that I would want to go back to the Rive disc. And now with the upcoming release, the new version that's coming down the pike any day now, there's a new option that you can have more than one bag. And so it may be that on one of my alternate bags, I will have the Zeus, and depending on the courses that are coming up in the daily, for example, I might switch bags and have the Zeus in that bag because I know just exactly how to get my eagle using the Zeus for that particular course, that particular hole. But for everyday use, I think I'm going to go back to the Rive. All right, well, that does it for our video today. Let me know in the comments below which Big Skip Extra Glide driver you are using in your bag and why you like it, why you've chosen that one over the others. And I'd be very interested to know which ones you're using and why you like it so much. But that does it for today. We'll see you next time here where we'll take a look at the Extra Glide Light distance drivers. We'll see you then. So long for now.